All right, Code Ninjas, this is part 2 of Project 4.02 on functions and input in Python. Let's take a look at the lesson. Okay, so this was lesson 4.02. And in our first class, we did part 1 where we made a new project called Project 4.02 Functions and Input. And we made a function inside called main. And we called it, and then we made two variables for first name and last name and printed them two different ways. I want to remind you, I posted the code, sample code, and there's a video that goes with part 1. If you're watching on YouTube, it's linked in the comments below. But basically, this is what we did in part 1. Now, you might not have all the hashtag comments. I did that for just to help people read the code after class, but you essentially have that. So let me go ahead and run that as it is. So notice it prints the title and then prints the name two different ways. So you can see in the code, I called my first name Luke and my last name Skywalker, and I printed it in two ways. So that is part 1, which we did the first part of class. And with class ending, we said, let's pick it up in the next class. So that's this video. Notice in part 1, there's a link to part 2. So that's this document. And here is the code with the additions. So it's the same project, but with some additions. Okay. So what did I add? Well, in the sample code document, now your lines might be different line numbers, but in this document, which I'm doing, line 8, we're going to add parts 1 and 2. And again, this is what I'm going to do in the video that you're watching now. I'm going to, instead of having first name equals Luke and last name equals Skywalker, I'm going to let them enter in the data. And then part 3, or after that, I'm going to ask 3 more questions. Okay? So let's go to the lesson. Here's basically the directions for pseudocode for part 2. I'm going to reassign the first name and last name, then use the input, and then ask 3 more questions. So, okay, let's talk reassignment. Let's say instead of Luke Skywalker, I want Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, so I'm going to change those 2 values and see what happens when I run my program again. Notice both are updated because it's not, I don't have to update these lines where it's printing because it's using the variables first name and last name. Here it's printing them regular with a space between them. And here it's adding them together with comma space and then printing them in uppercase right down here. Okay, so now for part 2, it says, hey, instead of asking every time for that, let's use the input function. So that's what I want to show you. That's kind of the key part of today. Okay, so see where it says first name and last name, Obi-Wan Kenobi? I'm going to delete that here. So delete maybe these lines. And before I say my name is, I'm going to ask for the first and last name. Now, be careful when you type in code, oh, I want to print parts 1 and 2 for the project. So now we're doing parts 1 and 2. And look at this, kids. I'm doing this on purpose. When you add a line, notice how it's non-indented. If I tried to run this, I think I would get an error. And it says, oh, wow, you have an indentation error. So I want to tab that over. And now it runs. Okay. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I don't have my first and last name done yet. So I deleted that. So now let's go ahead and notice how I'm indented correctly. And the way to make sure you're indented, if I want to insert something after this line 8, I click at the end of line 8 and hit enter a couple times, and now I'm indented. So let's use the input function. Oops. I'm doing a comment here just for user data. Okay. So now, see, my code wouldn't run because it said, hey, you deleted first name. So let's do input parentheses. Notice in replet, when you do one parentheses, you get both. And let's go ahead and do last name in the same way. Okay, and I've got to make sure I type it capitalized just like I did below. Okay, what does the input function do? Well, it lets the user type in the first name and last name. So let me run this. Let's see if it runs now. Okay, now notice it prints the title, but it's just waiting there with a block. So I'm going to type in Andrew and then Hicks. So, yep, and it works. Now, the problem with that is if someone's coming and using my program, they won't know what to type. So what we do is do what's called a prompt. We prompt them for what they're supposed to type in. So enter your first name, and you could do it as a question too. What is your first name? Question mark space. I'm going to do mine as a colon, a prompt. Then I'm going to copy this and put it in for last name and edit this. Okay. So now it's going to prompt them for a question. So look over here. Yep, instead of it, the white square is still there, but it basically tells them what to type. So I'm going to type in Joe and Mama, and it just works. Now, just to make my console look pretty, I'm going to drop this down a line where it says enter. So let me try it again and do Joe Mama again. And now that just works. Okay, so that is how we use the input function. Okay, and by the way, when I want to show you about tabbing, I'm going to zoom out to see my whole program. So if you have here, let me, let's say I have some lines, they're all indented crazy, and I try to run it and oops, indentation error. Again, the way to fix it, I zoomed out so I can see my whole function. Underneath def main, I'm going to get all the lines below that and hit shift tab to move it all the way to the left. Okay, and then now to tab it all the same once, I hit tab and it's aligned perfectly. And now will it run? Yes. Okay, and there we go. All right. So that is this part. So now in class, what I said, hey, now it's your turn. You can ask any 3 questions you want. So you can do favorite movie, favorite sport, age, food, etc. And then I want you to print the 3 variables in complete sentences. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and change this to complete sentences. So you can put it like in a paragraph, or I'm going to go ahead and just do 3 sentences. And then I want you to print them again in uppercase. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the end of my function. So let me go zoom back in so we can see better. Okay. All right, so here's my last line of my function. So notice I went to the end of the line and hit tab, or I just hit enter and it tabbed me perfectly. Ask 3 questions. So again, you can ask whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and ask, how old are you? So I'm going to use the variable age equals input. Okay, and I'm going to do a prompt, and I'm going to drop it down the line for this first one, \n. Enter your age. Okay, and then a space. Okay, then I'm going to do favorite movie. So I'm going to call it fav movie just for short. I can call the variable anything I want. Input, quote, what is your favorite movie? Okay, now that was actually a question. So I could put a question mark. I'm going to be consistent and say enter your favorite movie. Okay, so it's like a survey. And then let's see, the third question is where were you born? So I'm going to call this birthplace equals input. So I'm going to copy this just to save typing. Some of you can type faster than I can copy and paste. Enter your birthplace. So like I was born in the city of Inglewood, California. Okay, so there I've asked my 3 questions. Let's see if it works. So before I do some printing, let's see if it lets me input. So my name is Andy Hicks. Okay, there's part 1. Okay, enter your age. I'm 57. Let's put Star Wars. And I was born in Inglewood. Okay, so I hit enter and I'm done. Nothing happened. So now to finish this off, I want to print it in 3 complete sentences and then in uppercase. Okay, so let's go add some print statements. Okay, so after these inputs, notice I'm clicking on the end line, enter, enter. Print in sentences. Go down a hashtag print in uppercase. So just practice printing some output. Okay, print in sentences. Let's see, my first one is age. So I'm going to print quote backslash and drop it down the line. You are blank years old. So you are space. Okay, then I'm going to concatenate or add on the variable age. So it might be 16, 15, 57. You are blank quote space years old, period. Okay, so you are 12 years old or you're 15 years old. Okay, next one is favorite movie. So I'm going to print, I'm going to do like Star Wars is the best movie ever, or Avengers is the best movie ever. So I'm going to start off with the variable fav movie plus, okay, space is the best movie ever. Okay, and then my third one is birthplace. So I'm going to say print. You were born in the city of blank, period. So you were born in the city of space. Okay, then, you know, Bakersfield or Taft or Inglewood. So birthplace. Oops. Birthplace. And then plus a period. So I got to put it in quotes. Okay. I think this might work. Let's test this one out. Okay, so let me run it. Andy Hicks. How old am I? I'm 57. My favorite movie, Avengers. I changed my mind. And Inglewood. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. Let's see if it prints those. You are 57 years old. Yep, that worked. Avengers is the best movie ever. And you were born in the city of Inglewood. Okay, so that's working. And now, just for practice output, I want to print each of them in uppercase. So print, quote, backslash n, because it's kind of a new group, age, colon, space, and then plus the variable age. And let's do uppercase. So remember the dot upper method. Okay. And then let's print, quote, favorite movie, colon, space, and then let's print the variable value fav movie dot upper. Okay, and then finally birthplace colon space plus birthplace dot upper method. Okay, so I'm going to print my output in a different way besides the complete sentences with uppercase. Okay, let me try this again. Oops. LeBron James Now, he's 36. I'm going to type in the words just so I can see it in uppercase, because uppercase 36 is still 36. So he's 36. His favorite movie is Space Jam. And he was born in Akron, Ohio. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh my. So look, oh wow. I think it just works. So notice it prints them in complete sentences and then prints the 3 values in all caps. Notice if I would have typed in 3.6 for his age, uppercase still would have been 3.6. There's no like uppercase numbers. All right, so this is my code. Let's see, let me scroll down a little bit. So here's kind of the new part. I asked for 3 different variables. So you can ask for whatever you want. Then you want to print them in complete sentences and print them in uppercase. Okay. And again, in the sample code document, this is essentially what I did here. Okay. And then here's some output. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is Mr. Hicks signing off for part 2 of functions and input. Oh, my.